Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Marina Burushkina, founder and CEO of Growth Channel, a marketing technology platform designed to simplify digital advertising and help businesses run smarter, data-driven campaigns. Marina has spent more than a decade helping multinational companies improve their marketing performances, working with global brands like Allianz and Philips before launching her own technology company. She previously co-founded a media holding company that achieved 2 successful exits, and today she focuses on solving one big challenge in marketing: the complexity of managing campaigns across dozens of platforms. Through Growth Channel, she has built AI-driven tools that make marketers plan, launch, and optimize campaigns across hundreds of advertising channels from one single system. Marina, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Hi, Olivia. Thank you for having me. Really excited to have a chat with you today.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm very much excited as well to dive in and learn a little bit more about your journey. So, Marina, with all of my guests, I do like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up Growth Channel, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, great question. The idea for Growth Channel came up when I was still at Philips, and I was just like taking notes on the transit back home in my phone. But I've been doing that for like a while, I would say, until I actually went down to start doing something about Growth Channel. So. The idea came through as we were running multiple different campaigns with various vendors, different platforms, and then we had to like stitch together different reports
Yeah.
essentially to figure out what's actually working, how do we even optimize all this together, and how do we report it back like to ourselves and to the management, right? So all of this, like every 2 weeks, we would run different campaigns, and it's just like a very hectic process. So this is, how the idea became. But as I was exiting our media group holding in Europe in 2020, this is a time when I actually went to implement Growth Channel. I was like, oh, cool. Now I've got like all this free time. And during that time, I was also actually happened to be in the US and kind of got stuck here during COVID, which is maybe a different podcast. But overall, it was just like kind of the time
Yeah.
of life, I guess, that just happened. It was like, okay, let's just put this from all these notes and all this ideation into practice. And I joined a startup school from YC to kind of help just get it out there. They have lots of amazing resources around like just launch basically and like get feedback. And this is kind of how the first version of Growth Channel was born.
Love it. And back in 2020, I feel like that obviously the break that the world had allowed a lot of people to, as you say, just kind of sit down and focus on things they've been doing outside of work to really accelerate that and get it going. So just allowing you some to slow down and move it from there. And you did have some businesses before, so I take it you always had a little bit of an inkling to be an entrepreneur within yourself.
Yeah, I love just kind of working on different
Yeah.
things and getting them into reality. I don't like when it just sits on my notebook though.
Right.
So I'm always like, okay, let's get it out there.
Yeah, you feel guilty that it's just sat there. You need to like really push it forward. It's like, okay, now what's the next step? Let's move forward. So let's come back to Growth Channel a little bit more and let's focus on that just so the listeners can have some context moving forward. So, Marina, at this point in, like, who would you say is your ideal client? Like, who do you very, very much love to work with the most? And then from there, how would you help them and how would you support them?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. I think like lots of founders struggle with this question around ICPs. And I think even us, like in the early days, we try different segments.
Yeah.
But right now, it's mainly media agencies. I'm actually glad that we work with agencies a lot, and because it's more of a partnership.
Mm,
And plus, because I had a media agency myself, some time back ago, it's kind of easier to have that conversation even with media agencies. So it's kind of like we're in the same flow, we talk the same language, and it's more about partnership. So I very much just enjoy even working with this group of clients. I'm just saying clients because they're kind of our partners and clients at the same time. Our end clients are advertisers, so it could be like a brand. Uh, a lot we work with a lot of like multi-location brands or even like e-commerce brands.
Yeah.
Like you could sell protein shakes or some jewelry or whatever that may be. You may have haircut stores in various locations. So we work with those kind of advertisers, mainly consumer facing, but we do have some B2B advertisers as well.
But as you say, kind of sticking like within the media zone that you know and love. And I feel like with founders, as you said at the start, it is hard to realize your ICP, mainly because a lot of people just feel like they can help everybody. They want to help everybody. But naturally, you do find something that is more comfortable to you and definitely much suits your background, which allows you to speak to them in their language, as you say, and just very much understand the ins and outs of what they're going through every day, which gives you that big advantage when you are moving forward. Now, what is it like to work with you at the company? Like, how is it you help and support them, like these agencies and these partners you're talking about moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. I mean, usually we would like have initial chat to better understand what channels they're already advertising on and what tools they're using, or if they're using any tools. I guess because like some agencies we speak with, they're just kind of more social and search. So
Yeah.
they're just like, we're just doing ads on Meta and on Google, and maybe some TikTok, and just do direct. That's also sometimes the case. Some more like how shall I say, like more advanced or like a little bit like more diverse
Yeah.
agencies. They would have like more channels. Maybe they have different tools where they're just like collate all their different channels and they run it maybe from different platforms, maybe just have additional programmatic advertising channels. Some of them have like different dashboards like funnels or triple whale to like consolidate all of that. So it kind of depends. But yeah, we'll just want to first understand what channels they're on, where they're not on, but would like to be. For example, we meet lots of agencies that really want to try digital billboards or podcast ads or, just in general, having some extra display that's actually working for performance or CTV. So just like other channels they maybe haven't tested yet, or when they did test, it didn't work for them, but they want to give it another shot. So we want to understand like what happened, what gaps they have, and see if we can fill those gaps. And sometimes we can't fill the gaps, but sometimes we can. So it's really identifying like, okay, is it a good fit for us to like try doing something together? Do they have already the advertisers or brands that would like to test those channels, right? Sometimes they're kind of like stuck in their search and social environment. But I would say a lot of agencies we speak with, they already work with like brands that are interested in scaling
Yeah.
and are looking at the, let's say, achieving blended ROAS or CPA where it would make sense for them. So we're usually like identifying those opportunities and then helping them get on the platform with those campaigns. For a lot of the agencies we work with, they haven't done too much programmatic performance campaigns because a lot of programmatic is like awareness, and our platform is very focused on performance.
Okay.
So I would say it's really like helping them understand how their, let's say, social or search campaigns could translate into programmatic campaign on our platform and just kind of helping them launch that first campaign so that they can also get better feel for the platform and how it works.
Beautiful. So there's like you can very much get on their level and like obviously as you say, you're doing that deep dive at the start to see where they're at, and then from there you can very much help them in a number of ways, which is pretty cool. Obviously tighten up what they've got going already, but adding on to their services to obviously help the clients that they have on the back of that as well, just move forward with the partnership. Now, one thing I'm very curious to find out is how you go about acquiring your own customers. So naturally, it's a very noisy world out there, you'll know yourself. It's just very hard to kind of get yourself up and out there. So, what is working well for you in just finding those right people to work with? Like, what channels and methods do you really like to use within the company yourself?
Yeah, I think we still experiment with a lot of that. So we're definitely like always open to testing new channels. The things that have worked for us so far are like events, online
Mhm.
and offline. So we do quite a handful of webinars, and we also do go to some industry events. Sometimes we host like more like close-knit dinners, and we invite different potential partners. So we do a little bit of that. We publish also benchmarks reports. So we have like some of the content and more educational resources that we push out there to help, get in front of the right people, I guess, and also educate them about programmatic advertising. And I think also a little bit about that thought leadership that's important to really like share the knowledge that we see from all the different digital advertising channels that they're on with the community of media buyers. So I'd say those are most probably the big ones, and then expanding the partnerships. We love just working with partners. We also work with some data partners. We work with some, other platforms that help the same agencies in different ways.
Yeah.
So a little bit of that.
Yeah, obviously partnerships is great to be building on top of them, as you say, because it's kind of like a one to many approach. Once you kind of get in, they can then spread out them to their own clients and move forward from there. And events and just putting yourself in the right room is a really great way to do it. Do you utilize social media in any form, like for yourself in terms of running ads or campaigns on there?
Yeah, we do some ads ourselves as well. We do a little bit of a programmatic advertising. We do some meta ads, and just like a little bit of LinkedIn ads as well. I also like try to post as much as I have time to post on LinkedIn myself, and like try to share
Yeah.
some knowledge with the community as well.
Yeah, the knowledge-based stuff is really cool. And as you said before, leaning onto that like thought leadership. So just making sure that they're seeing you as that specialist when they need to come to, you're really giving them the help that they need and they're very much resonating with your messaging. And do you have a team that are helping you out at all on the back end of things, covering some of the hats you have to wear as a founder and just helping you manage the task moving forward?
Yeah, we have amazing team of like sales team, marketing team, client success, development, yeah, operations team as well. Unfortunately, nobody helps me with like LinkedIn post, but that's okay.
That's your job.
That's kind of on me. But overall, I'd say they're doing a great job. We do utilize some of the social media. I think LinkedIn has worked well for us in the
Nice.
past. I wouldn't say that other social channels have worked well for us yet. I mean, maybe we haven't optimized or tested enough there yet, but I'd say LinkedIn has worked well for us so far.
Awesome. Yeah, LinkedIn, I think when you are doing organic, it's a nice platform to do so. As you say, leaning into the thought leadership. I know that task relies on you and that's the hat you have to wear, but just putting the message out and getting posting is a beautiful platform to grow on. I think Meta's slightly slower. I think when it comes to us ourselves, it's very much running advertisements across Meta. YouTube is kind of what picks up the traffic, reaching a broad audience through those other chat platforms and diverting them where you can. But it's cool that you have a nice team that you can obviously support you throughout. So you just need to work on what you can do as the business continues to grow. And like, what are your visions or your intentions moving forward, for the company? When you think maybe the next 6, 12 months, what are the goals or the targets you're working hard towards at the moment?
Yeah. Well, right now we're working on like a kind of third release of the platform. So the platform evolved a lot
Oh,
since,
cool,
the
cool.
first launch. Now we are currently on V2, and we are about to launch. We're not going to call it V3, but like we're calling just like new app. So the new app platform in the next most probably like 2 months for external users. Right now, we are testing it internally, just like all the different things. We have more cool AI features embedded in the UI itself. Right now, it's a lot in like in the back end, which is less front facing for users. So I would say it's maybe less exciting, but it's becoming more exciting when it's like in your face, all these AI components. So I'd say that's one of the biggest launches that is more short term, and
Hmm.
then longer term. I mean, there are lots of other components that we are testing and bringing up, but we are also expanding a little bit more into enterprise right now, where we want to allow bigger agencies and brands to add their own programmatic advertising DSP seats or DMP seats and connect them into our platform. Right now, it's all built-in access that allows like small to mid-sized media agencies and brands to get instant access essentially to premium
Cool.
inventory, but we're also expanding more into enterprise accounts where they can also add their own seats and just use our AI and platform for single login to really optimize all those channels. And I think that's going to be beautiful, and we look forward to launching that towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I can imagine. As you say, getting to those bigger fish getting to those bigger fish as well is always a bigger challenge. So I feel like sometimes the challenge makes it a little bit more exciting when you are moving forward within the business. And obviously adding AI to just adds that another level of modernness to what you're doing as well, which is pretty cool, and integrating everything that you can. Where are you probably finding the biggest challenge for yourself at the moment, either even with taking those next steps or within the current business?
Yeah, I think like AI is an opportunity and a challenge at the same time.
Right.
So it's like adding the modernness, but at the same time complexity, and then you have this security elements that always have to, take place. And it's just like we are right now working on a bunch of new AI agents, and it's like the biggest question mark is like how do we restrict, like how do you have those
Yeah.
guardrails so it doesn't go do what it shouldn't do basically, because the access is, I don't want to say unlimited, but it's kind of
Kind
unlimited.
of is. It's a problem with
Um,
AI in general. It is unlimited. Like no one knows how to control it. It's just growing, and you teach it how to grow. Is the biggest
yeah.
challenge you say is to control it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, I would say, is one of the biggest challenges that we have. I mean, of course, as a startup, we have so many different challenges, but like we just had a management sync call, and it was like one of the hot topics, let's call it this
Yeah.
way, on the agenda. It's like, okay, how do we best control this thing so that it doesn't just like, do the things that we don't
Yeah.
want it to do, and then there's no way back kind of thing.
Yeah. Top of mind, how do we control AI? It's a great one to do that moving forward. And I do have one final question to ask you, Marina, before we log out. So, if you could go back in time to a younger self and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know back then, what would you say to yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say like in the last 3 years, we definitely changed kind of the way we put our strategy a little bit more compared to the initial days in the startup. So if in case there are like earlier stage startups listening, I think it's like really important to do less better than
Mm,
doing more, and just kind of bits and pieces everywhere. I think that's one of the biggest learnings that comes through features, modules, products, even like the team resources. Like we had like, I think we focused a lot on like just getting more stuff done in the
yeah,
earlier stages, then now we're like really thinking things through, and maybe we do less things, but we do them so much better. And the impact of those fewer things is like so
yeah,
much larger than in our earlier stages. So it's just something that I think it's really hard to realize, and lots of startups, even when they hear it, they don't do it until they realize it later on. But I feel like that's one thing that's really helped us grow a lot in the last few years.
yeah. I think that would apply to most things in life as well. And like my mind went straight to work smart and not hard. And as you say, just those little compound effects will eventually grow if you focus on those things and moving forward. And Marina, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
Yeah, I'm pretty open on LinkedIn, so if you guys want to connect, that's cool. Just don't spam me. But outside of that, if you just want to connect and have a nice conversation, I'm down for that.
Beautiful stuff. And thank you again. I really appreciate your time today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please be sure to go and check out Marina on LinkedIn. As she said, please do not spam, but she would love to hear from everybody. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing and we'll see you on the next one.